used his appearance at the Conservative Political Action Conference to lash out at the journalistic practice of protecting sources by not naming them. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jordan Berger. That comes following reports that the White House asked the FBI to publicly refute claims that Trump aides were in contact with Russia during the campaign. We get details from NBC's Hallie Jackson.
President Trump on attack in front of fired-up conservatives today. Almost back on the campaign trail. Same music. Same message.
A movement the likes of which, actually, the world has never seen before.
Same media bashing, railing against what he calls fake news.
A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are.
His administration particularly upset over two reports they call false about interactions between Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and the Deputy Director of the FBI. The White House today acknowledging Priebus asked the FBI to knock down a story that the campaign had been in touch with Russian intelligence officials, but only after, the White House says, the Deputy Director first told Priebus the story wasn't true.
I've talked to the top levels of the intelligence community, and they've assured me that New York Times story was grossly overstated and inaccurate and totally wrong.
Priebus broke no laws by having that conversation with the FBI official. Despite Democratic concerns, it may have amounted to political interference in an investigation into Russia's meddling with the election. The White House has denied any connection between the president and Russian officials. Multiple sources tell NBC News the agency is looking at whether the president's associates had any contact with Moscow during the campaign.
As long as there isn't an indication that the White House is trying to influence the investigations, I think this may be a tempest in the teapot.
Now, more potential fallout in the relationship between the FBI and the White House. The president going after leaks he blames on the agency. And despite repeatedly himself citing unnamed sources to slam political opponents, attacking those today, too.
They shouldn't be allowed to use sources unless they use somebody's name.
The conference wraps up tomorrow as another one begins. Democrats in Atlanta will vote on their new party chair.
The feud between the White House and reporters took another bizarre turn today as White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer blocked several news organizations from a press gaggle in his office. Spicer canceled the regular daily White House press briefing, replacing it with an informal briefing in his office and failing to invite several major news outlets, including the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, CNN, and Politico. Cameras were also not permitted, so we have no video, only audio.
Are CNN and the New York Times not in here right now because you're unhappy with their reporting? And why are they not in here?
Because we had a pool and then we expanded it. We added some folks to come and cover it.
But there's not room for other eyes.
It was my decision to decide, to expand the pool.
Among the media organizations allowed in were the conservative website Breitbart News, whose former executive chairman Steve Bannon is now President Trump's chief strategist. Meanwhile, a new poll reveals how Americans feel about the alleged communications between President Trump's campaign and the Russian government in 2016. According to the latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, 54% of Americans believe Congress should investigate it. 29% said no. Regarding Trump's relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, 38% say it's too friendly, while 29% disagree. Just 7% of Trump supporters, however, say the two are too cozy. Our week of warm weather has come to an end, so let's send it over to Michael to see what we should expect this weekend.
Thank you, Brittany, and good evening, everyone. As she mentioned, what a nice week it was in mid-Missouri, but that has come to an end as we take a look at the weather almanac. We actually reached our high temperature today of 62 degrees at 4:09 this morning, and then you can see our low actually reaching, well, that's actually a little not accurate right now. As you can see, those temperatures are much colder at this hour. And as we take a look more, talking about the temperature trends over the past few hours, again, we were at 46 degrees at 4 p.m., and we got all the way down to 30 degrees right now. It's actually the first time we've been below freezing since last Thursday, February 16th. So we've been dealing with well above average temperatures, and you can see overnight tonight we are going to get back down into the 20s with wind chills. Waking up tomorrow feeling more like we're down in the teens. As we take a look at our weekend forecast, we'll see temperatures only top out at 41 degrees tomorrow. We are going to see mostly sunny skies, but as we head into Sunday, those clouds return, as well as a chance for possibly a wintry mix, as well as some rain. We'll talk more about that rain, and we can expect some warmer temperatures to come back coming up later in the show.
Plans to build a new middle school have been bumped up the to-do list because of overcrowding. Columbia Public Schools released a map of the areas that could be locations for the new school. Take a look. Where you see the areas in blue are favorable building sites. The pink zones are less favorable but still possible sites. The 25 total sites will be cut down as the Board of Education weighs important factors.
You know, there are a couple properties that are on the list that would provide some significant challenges. They're next to a state park, for example, or we know that we've had challenges with infrastructure.
CPS plans to decide on one location by the end of the year and have the school open by 2020.
A Democrat from Kansas City has asked Governor Greitens to be more transparent about his travel costs. The letter cites a Missouri law which says, quote, any records or flight logs by any elected member shall be open public records. Representative Greg Razor says the statute usually only requires the government to disclose costs from planes owned by the state, but he's asking for all flights for official state purposes. Razor asked the governor's office to respond by Thursday. Governor Greitens has appointed members to a committee that will recommend changes to the state's tax system. Joe Walters will head the committee for simple, fair, and low taxes. He was recently named director of the Missouri Department of Revenue. Greitens appointed two former senators, Jason Crowell and John Lamping. They fought to roll back tax credits while they were in the Senate. Greitens has also appointed 3 senators and 3 members of the House. April 15th, right around the corner, the IRS is trying to keep you safe by releasing its Dirty Dozen scams for 2017. The list includes scams criminals use to take advantage of taxpayers. On that list, fake emails, phone calls, and fake charity donations. But this year's list also includes ways people scam the government by filing fraudulent taxes.
You go online, you can do your federal for free. So some people are just tempted. Well, if I click this number, make that higher. Oh, my refund went up by $500. Oh, I make that bigger, it went up by $1,000. So some people are just tempted to, just file fraudulent tax returns.
This is the most common scam on the list. We have the full Dirty Dozen list of scams on our website, KOMU.com.
The minimum wage in Kansas City could go up to $15 an hour. The City Council will put a petition on the ballot for residents to vote on in August. If passed, the $7.70 minimum wage would increase by $10 by September and then gradually to $15 by 2022. Civil rights and social advocates support the initiative while many business groups oppose it.
Malls across America are seeing a decrease in major department stores and an increase in vacancies. Earlier today, it was announced that JCPenney will close up to 140 stores across the U.S. KMU 8's Desiree Evans has more on how the closing of big-name stores are impacting one mid-Missouri mall.
What do Sears and now JCPenney have in common? They're big-name companies that are getting rid of physical locations across the country. Within Capitol Mall in Jefferson City, Sears is completely closing and Payless is relocating. And these losses are not only hurting the mall they're in, but also the shoppers.
It's kind of depressing.
She says that with a smile, but one of her favorite stores was removed only a year ago.
I used to have a favorite store here named Deb's, and they closed last year, and now we have some more that are closing, and it kind of takes away from the home feel of it.
On top of big name stores closing like Sears, Capitol Mall in Jefferson City has several more empty spaces like the one behind me. But one store manager says there's hope.
Well, it's been good to us.
Prop says despite the big stores closing, being in the mall has been beneficial for smaller businesses.
For the local businesses in the area, it's a pretty good place to rent out,
And he's not the only one remaining hopeful.
I hope that the mall can get revived and maybe more people come out to see what the mall has to offer.
Desiree Evans, KMU 8 News, Jefferson City.
Mayor Carrie Turgeon over the phone says it's important that people shop local as much as possible to prevent local store closures from continuing. Meanwhile, the Columbia Mall longtime tenant MC Sports is in the process of closing down.
After the break, how a new gun law this year is affecting proper gun training.
And later in the show, a Columbia hero gets a surprise payback. That's coming up.
A new gun law took effect on January 1st, and it's already having an impact. In Missouri, it's now legal to carry a concealed weapon without a permit. KOMU 8's Lexi Larson tells us how the new law has affected concealed carry permit numbers and what law enforcement thinks about it.
Cornered me into working because I came here to shoot so often. Joe Gilbert started teaching concealed carry classes more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've been teaching since 1991.
Gilbert says he hasn't noticed a decline in the number of people signing up for his classes.
We're still teaching a class every month and it fills up, so we haven't seen any difference.
But there has been a decrease in the number of people applying for concealed carry permits.
The veto override session, which overrode that veto and made those changes become law, then yes, we saw significant decreases in the number of CCW applications being submitted.
In January 2016, 170 people applied for a new concealed carry permit. That's compared to just 23 people in January 2017, the lowest number the Sheriff's Department has seen in over 5 years. Even though a permit is no longer legally required in Missouri, both Redden and Gilbert say they recommend gun owners still get trained on proper gun safety.
I think everybody across the board agrees that lack of a training and education component is not good. Whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're a concealed carry instructor, whether you're someone on the street who knows nothing about firearms or use of force, I think a vast majority of folks agree that that training component is vital.
Redden says it is important to remember that this law is only valid in Missouri. Anyone leaving the state with a weapon will still need a concealed carry permit. Lexi Larson, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Redden says the Sheriff's Department is more than willing to answer any questions about that the public might have about the new law.
Later in the show, a life of service led a Columbia man to quite a surprise tonight, how he got a big thank you.
Welcome back to KMU 8 News at 10. We're checking out the time lapse down at the Lake of the Ozarks today. Temperatures up in the 50s this morning, but as we mentioned, they were falling throughout the day as a cold front passed through, bringing us some very cloudy conditions and much colder temperatures as we were down near 45 degrees at sunset tonight. And at 10:15 p.m., we are right about at the freezing point, 33 degrees. And as we take a look at our forecast facts for the next days, hello winter, it is back. And it will be with us for this entire weekend with below average temperatures. And we are going to see a chance for some rain, maybe a few snowflakes as we head into Sunday morning. But another big story this weekend is going to be the wind. It was very breezy this afternoon. That'll continue for tomorrow and even into Sunday afternoon as well. Current winds right now at 23 miles an hour, and that's sustained winds. That's not even wind gusts. Wind gusts as high as 35 to 40 miles an hour across mid-Missouri at this hour. And as we take a look at our windcast, even into the morning hours, we'll wake up at 8 a.m. with winds as high as 15 miles an hour and wind gusts throughout the afternoon tomorrow up near 25 to 30 miles an hour. They are going to slow down throughout the day and even in the overnight hours into Sunday morning. We are going to see those winds calm down as another front pushes through, and by Sunday afternoon we'll be dealing with more wind gusts, again up near 20 miles an hour or so with sustained winds and about 10 to 15 throughout the day on Sunday. But again, temperatures are the big story. 34-degree difference right now than where we were at this point last night. Last night we were about at 60 degrees still at this point. Now we're falling back into the 30s as we take a look at the map across mid-Missouri. 30 degrees in Columbia, 32 in Jefferson City. We're up in the mid-20s way up in Chillicothe, and when you add that wind that we're seeing right now, it feels a whole lot colder outside. 17 degrees in Columbia. It was what it feels like at this hour, and 12 degrees up in Macon overnight tonight. Even for our northwestern viewing area, you could even see those wind chills get down into the single digits, and we wake up tomorrow morning, they'll be feeling more like the teens here in Columbia. High pressure is going to be sliding into the area this weekend, and that is stable atmosphere, so we are going to see plenty of sunshine tomorrow, but those temperatures are still going to be awfully chilly because of that cold front passing through. We are still seeing a few areas of some flurries across mid-Missouri, and that'll continue into tomorrow morning as well. And as we take a look at that precipcast, again, we are going to remain cloudy overnight tonight, but those will clear out as we head into the morning hours. And again, mostly sunny throughout the day tomorrow, just temperatures not quite warming up like we'd like to, as we've seen the past few days and really the past couple weeks here in Missouri. By 3 p.m. tomorrow, we'll be reaching that high temperature of about 41 degrees. As we head into the day on Sunday, things get a little more interesting. You can kind of see that band of rain. This is the one that we're going to be watching, kind of messing with the timing with this. It could be anywhere from some just rain, maybe a little bit of snow, but the good news is any freezing precipitation will melt as we are going to get back up into the mid-40s on Sunday afternoon, and then another batch of rain will move through the area, and we're going to get anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of rain with this system, and that'll be happening in the late afternoon hours across mid-Missouri. And as we head into the overnight hours on Sunday into Monday morning, that will clear out, and we're actually going to see another chance for some rain on Monday afternoon. Tonight, though, 25 degrees, much colder than what we've been seeing for those overnight lows, and those wind gusts continue with wind gusts as high as 25 miles an hour across mid-Missouri. Tomorrow, again, only warming up to a high of 41, and that's pretty generous. It looks like most of us will just barely get into the 40s tomorrow afternoon with those winds slowing down, and again, it'll feel like the teens when you wake up tomorrow morning. As we take a look at that 8-day forecast, chances for rain again on Sunday afternoon, Monday afternoon, and even a good chance for maybe even a rumble of thunder on Tuesday afternoon, but notice those temperatures back up into the 60s by Tuesday. We fall back down to earth on Wednesday, 49 degrees. But as we take a look at the forecast for true fall, still a very early look at the forecast, but right now things look dry and very mild for next weekend with temperatures in the 50s. So a little bit of everything in that forecast for the next 8 days.
Bundle up for the weekend.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back. But first, here's a look at your lottery numbers. Lots of people live life hoping to leave a legacy. For one Columbia man, leaving a lasting impact has been the byproduct of a life of service. KOMU 8's Matt Vereen's here in the studio with a glimpse into someone many are calling a hero.
Jerron Wilson arrived at the First State Community Bank today expecting a job evaluation and probably hoping for a raise. What he received instead was so much more. Every celebration needs a reason, and you'll be hard-pressed to find a better reason than Jerron Wilson.
I think this is an effort to recognize the true kind of champion of the Boys and Girls Club. Jerron Wilson has been really a father figure for all the kids at the Boys and Girls Club.
Wilson, who grew up without a father, started volunteering so future kids didn't have to grow up with the same void.
This guy's changing lives in the community, literally. So I don't know if there's anything better that you can do than to impact lives in a positive way.
We wanted to give this to you.
For his 18 years of service, the Boys and Girls Club presented Wilson with the Hero Award, a title most would say is perfectly named.
Jerron truly is a hero, not only to the people that work at the club and the kids that go to the club. He's a hero to the community.
A volunteer hero who's given his life to something bigger and whose impact will not soon fade from the hearts of the thousands he's touched along the way. Wilson, who was fighting back tears for most of it, said he can't wait for the future as he and the club look to make an even bigger impact. In the studio, Matt Vereen, KOMU 8 News.
A Mid-Missouri nonprofit aims to bring awareness of the services disabled people use. The I Can Missouri Foundation helps people with disabilities in Randolph County and is funded by taxpayer dollars. The money comes from a tax levy from a Senate bill that requires each county in Missouri to provide special services to people. The program director says it is important for people to know how their taxes help disabled people.
So as a whole, we're serving the community because what we do is a need. For those with developmental disabilities, sometimes they need that extra assistance to have a sufficient life.
The Senate bill provides nearly $650,000 in taxpayer money to run the program.
Next in sports, St. James basketball went 24-0 this season, but could the team snag the District 9 title?
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Winning by 40 points in round one, 28 in the semifinals, undefeated St. James basketball was a slam dunk for the finals. But Southern Boone has two of the best players in the area, Kylie Shute and Skylar Beeson. So, you're telling me there's a chance. It's a packed and loud crowd for this one. Good start for the Eagles, though, as Beeson, she's going to take the shot, and she knocks down a triple less than a minute into the game. First points of the game. Soboco led by 2 after a quarter. Riley Shear steps up for the Eagles in the second. This 3 was part of 5 straight points for her to begin the quarter, forcing a St. James timeout. Soboco jumped to a 9-point lead in the second, but St. James scored 7 straight, including that layup from Madison Lindman to end the quarter. Southern Boone now, they would extend that lead. It's Kylie Shute. She shoots her shot, and she's going to make it on the other end as Southern Boone is your district champion for the 3rd straight year, 41-29. And Helias taking on Rockbridge at Helias High School. In the first half, Isaiah Mosley leading the way for the visiting team with a nice pull-up 3. He led all players with 25 points, but Helias would not let this get away easy. Landon Harrison with a nice layup. Recently hit that 1,000-point mark. Nice play by the Crusader. Crusader fans excited for that second half, but strong defense and 11 points from DeJuan Harris proved to be too much as Rockbridge takes it 71-56. Over in Hickman, it's Fort Zumwalt North taking on the Cupies senior night. It was the Chase Thomas show. Senior sinks a 3 from the corner. Cupies up 33-19. Then later on, more Thomas showing off his dribbling skills. Silky smooth to the glass, cross up the defender and scores. Hickman up 40-27. Then right before the end of the first half, Fort Zumwalt gets the steal. Alex Owens buries this buzzer beater. Incredible play, but wasn't really going to matter. Cupies still up 9, and they pull away in the second. Here's Thomas Dutton. Nice little tic-tac-toe. Hickman up 71-42 at that point as the Cupies go on to win it 88-67. Thomas had 32 points for the Cupies. And finally, the top 2 seeds of the Class 2 District 8 final met at Sturgeon High School a few minutes in. New Bloomfield gets the passing game going. Samantha Haas with the finish. Score tied at 10 after the first quarter. Then Eugene keeps it tight. Their senior Lexi Dickerson, she scored over a dozen points tonight. Eugene led 24-23 at half. Fourth quarter, quick moves by Maddie Craighead. Less than 2 minutes left. She gives the Lady Cats 55-54 lead. Final seconds, Eugene needing a 3-pointer. Not going to happen. Dickerson misses the shot as New Bloomfield advances to sectionals with a 62-59 win. Missouri baseball notched their 5th win in a row earlier today against Houston. The Tigers got the 4-2 win down in Corpus Christi, Texas against 25th ranked Houston. Former Rockbridge Bruin Connor Brunfield had a game-winning RBI. The Tigers will play Texas A&M Corpus Christi tomorrow at 6 p.m. Lefty Michael Plasmeyer will get the start on the hill. And Mizzou softball also getting the win today. It was a 2 sweep for the Tigers as well. They played number 7 Washington over on the West Coast in Cathedral City, California. The Tigers won 9-5. The freshman Braxton Burnside had 2 home runs. The Tigers will play Nebraska tomorrow at 7:30. The St. Louis Blues have agreed to an extension with one of their biggest contributors this season. Today, the club inked forward Patrick Berglund to a 5-year, $19.25 million deal. The Swedish forward is second on the team in goals this season with 17. Berglund has been on the Blues since they drafted him 25th overall in 2006. He's already 7th all-time on the team's games played list. And finally, the Cardinals announced a signing today as spring training is underway. The Cuban outfielder Jose Adalis Garcia signed a minor league contract that includes an invitation to major spring training. And in 2016, he was the MVP of Serie Nacional, Cuba's top professional league. Now do it for sports.
Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News today. The Community Garden Coalition hosts its Spring Thaw tomorrow.
Gardeners, stop by to get a plot for this spring. See you tomorrow.
Gonna be a cold one this weekend, folks. Bundle up tomorrow morning.
Have a great weekend.